my mouth and that the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable and pleasing in your sight. God, you alone are our strength. God, you alone are our Redeemer. God, let the word go forth and might encourage somebody in this place today. And in Jesus' name, let us all say together. Say amen. 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 Good morning, Grace.
Good morning.
It's good to be back with you all this week.
Amen.
The title of today's sermon is Wait on the Lord.
Wait on the Lord.
Come on, somebody say that with me. Say, wait on the Lord.
Wait on the Lord.
And today's message comes from Psalm 27. And Psalm 27 is a psalm that a child of God can turn to when they are experiencing adversity or being tempted by fear or anxiety or concern. And see, I don't care who you are at some point in your life, you are going to encounter something that is going to tempt you to experience fear or anxiety or concern. Amen. For example, church, within the past few weeks, there have been several mass shootings by domestic terrorists in our country. And innocent people have become victims of violence, often due to ignorance or hatred or perhaps some form of mental health. Amen. Now, just this month alone, there was a shooting in El Paso, Texas, where 22 people were killed and 24 people were injured just while they were shopping. And in Dayton, Ohio, another 9 people were killed and 27 people were injured. In fact, church, in our country alone, there have been over 250 separate shootings with multiple victims just in 2019, and we are not even quite 2/3 of the way through this year. Amen. And people are worried. People are afraid and people are concerned about their loved ones because the threat of violence continue to plague our nation. Threats of violence are causing people to fear. Not to mention, church, the fact that everyday life circumstances sometimes can also tempt us to become anxious and worried. There's the threat of sickness and disease. There's the threat of challenges in our finances and not being able to pay our bills and make it from one week to the next. There is the threat of discrimination, the threat of folk lying on you and cheating on you and walking out on you. But for all of these adversities that threaten to come up against us, church, God has given us a psalm through none other than King David. And this is one of the psalms that I turn to when I feel myself being backed up against a wall and I feel like the enemy is coming against me and I need to encourage myself in the Lord. Church, Psalm 27 is a psalm of confidence. And see, one thing that we know about the writer of this psalm is that David was well acquainted with adversity. Amen. David wrote this psalm in order to encourage himself in the Lord. And see, one thing that I have had to learn over all of my years is that as a child of God, that it is important that you learn how to encourage yourself in the Lord. Amen, somebody. Because see, all of us are going to have to go through some things, you all, because life just happens to all of us. But when life happens, church, sometimes the pastor is not going to be there to pray for you. Amen. Sometimes your family and your friends are not always going to be able to help you. Your prayer partner might not be available for you. So sometimes, church, when you are going through, you are just going to have to learn how to encourage yourself in the Lord. Because see, I've said it before and I'll say it again this morning, church, that sometimes when you are going through certain things in your life, there's really nobody else who can help you except for the Lord. And the best way that you can get what you need from God is to what? Go to God in prayer. Because who better to take your burden to than the one who can help you meet every last one of your needs. Now, Psalm 27 begins with David professing his faith in God. Then with that faith, he begins his prayer. He then reaffirms his faith. And finally, he begins to encourage others in the Lord. Because how many people know that many times we go through what we go through so that God can give us a testimony to tell somebody else about what the Lord has brought us through. Amen. So see, they can know, like we know, that when they are going through, that just like God was there for us, and just like God got us through, God will be there for them too, and God will pull them through too. You don't go through what you go through just for yourself.
Right.
We go through what we go through so that we can be a blessing to somebody else. Amen. Now, verse 1 of Psalm 27 says, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" So the first thing that I want to point out here, church, is the fact that David identifies who the Lord is to him. And because of who the Lord is to him, he's able to have faith in God. Because in order to have faith in somebody's ability to help you, you have got to know who you are dealing with. Church, God is the Alpha and the Omega. Come on, God is the beginning and the ending of all things. God is the creator of all that ever was and is to come. Church, God is a God who can do all things but fail. God is our comforter. God is our provider. God is our keeper. God is our waymaker. God is our benefactor. God is the one who will fight for us. Church, God is our healer. God is our light, our salvation, and our strength. And because of who God is to us, church, that ought to be enough for us to put our faith in God and keep us from being afraid, regardless of what we might be going through.
Amen.
Because see, it's our faith in God, church, that gives us the ability to see beyond what's in front of us. It's our faith in God, church, that helps us see things the way that God sees things. It's our faith in God, church, that helps us realize that even though we might not be able to see it right now, that it's already done.
Amen.
I said it's already done.
Amen.
In Jesus' name.
Yes.
So even if we are in the middle of a difficult situation, our faith in a God who can do all things is what helps us to hang on in there a little while longer, despite how rough it appears to be right now. Because see, even though it might look bad, our faith tells us that because of who God is to us, that God is up to something, church, that God is working on something, church, and because we have more faith in God than we do in the situation. Regardless of what it looks like, we know that it is going to work out together for our good. Amen. Why, church? Because God is right there with us every step of the way. That's why David said in Psalm 23, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil." Why? For thou art with me. And if you know that God is with you, church, I'm a witness that it does not matter what the situation looks like. With God on your side, you have absolutely nothing to fear, even death itself, because God is stronger than anything that tries to threaten you. Amen? God is stronger than any force that tries to come against you. God is stronger than any sickness, any disease. God is stronger than any financial crisis. God is stronger than any form of discrimination. Church, there is nothing that can come up against you that is stronger than the God you serve. And because you have the Lord on your side, church, the Lord is your light, the Lord is your salvation, the Lord is your strength, and you have absolutely, positively nothing to fear. All you have to do is wait on the Lord.
Amen.
Now, while you are waiting on the Lord, church, yes, your faith will be tested.
Yeah.
Yes, you will have trials.
Yes.
Yes, you will go through temptation.
Yes.
No, things will not always go well for us. And sometimes, tell the truth, it's not so easy to just let go and let God.
Yes.
Especially when you are being attacked
Yes.
for no good reason.
Yeah.
No, it's not always easy to just hold your peace and let the Lord fight your battles. Amen, somebody. Tell the truth on yourself this morning, church.
Amen.
But how many people know that God has never fought a battle that God has not won?
Amen.
Church, God always wins.
Yes.
Because see, God is Jehovah. That means that the Lord is my battle. The Lord is the one who fights all my battles. So why not wait on God to do what God does best and trust God in the process? Because with God on your side, church, you cannot help but to win.
Amen.
Church, David says that even though I'm going through some tough things right now, I am not going to allow fear to get the best of me, because no matter what is going on, church, he says, I still believe God. Somebody say that with me this morning. Say, I still believe God.
I still believe God.
Now, we don't know exactly what David was going through at this time in his life when he wrote this song, but we do know that David had some enemies. We do know that people were bad-mouthing him. Anybody ever have folks talk about you?
Amen.
Had people lie on you?
Amen.
Had folks speak all manner of evil against you?
Amen.
Guess what? If they talked about Jesus, if they talked about David,
Yes.
they will talk about you too. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Church, David was a man who knew what it was like to experience adversity. David was the one who had to go out and fight against a lion and a bear. David was the one who had to stand up against the giant Goliath. David had his life threatened by King Saul, to whom he had been very loyal. And his own son, his own flesh and blood, even tried to kill him, even though he had done nothing wrong. Now, it can definitely hurt, church, when anybody tries to attack you. But imagine being attacked and betrayed by people who are supposed to be close to you. And even though you've done all you know to do, people still have something bad to say about you. People still try to cause you harm. Church, everybody is not going to like you. Everyone is not going to appreciate what you have to offer.
That's right.
And everybody is not going to be happy when God blesses you. Come on, you will have some haters. You will have some enemies. You may even have some people who talk bad about you simply because of who you are, or even because of what God has blessed you with.
Amen.
But let them keep on talking if they want to, because with every negative word that they say, church, let that negativity be your motivation to get down on your knees, talk to God in prayer, get into God's faith, and let God handle that situation on your behalf. Yo, we got to learn how to fight back with prayer.
Yes.
We have to learn how to fight back in the spirit. Ask God to make you a prayer warrior.
Yes.
Come on.
That's what God's been doing in me lately, church. Because see, every time the enemy sucker punches me, I hit back even harder with my prayers. And God keeps on blessing me, and the enemy keeps on fighting me. And God keeps on blessing me, and the enemy keeps on fighting me. And God keeps on blessing me, and God keeps on blessing me, and God keeps on blessing me, and God keeps on blessing me. And God is preparing a table before me, right in the presence of my enemies. And all they can do is just watch me be blessed.
All right.
Church, if you will learn how to pray in response to all of the negativity, God will help you fight win every single battle, every single time. It does not matter how much the devil tries to attack you. It does not matter how they try to talk about you. It does not matter how they try to put you down. As long as you got the Lord on your side, church, how many know that everything is going to be all right? Now David said in verse 2, when the evildoers assail me to devour my flesh, my adversaries and my foes, they shall stumble and fall. Though an army shall camp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war shall rise against me, yet will I be confident.
Yes.
Now, evildoers are like wild animals or predators, like people coming after you to do you harm. And what this is talking about, church, is people who are slandering David's name, about people who are lying on him, about people who are talking behind his back. And because of the lies, his life is in danger. But regardless of what people might have said about him, because of his faith in God, it does not matter who is trying to tear him down, church. David is confident that they will not succeed. Church, it does not matter who or what tries to tear you down, they will not succeed. No matter who tries to lie on you, they will not succeed. No matter who tries to scandalize your name, they will not succeed. Church, David is talking about a whole army coming after him. A force that is obviously bigger and stronger than him. But because of his faith in God, he did not allow himself to be intimidated by the strength of his opponent. Listen, it does not matter how big your enemy is. It does not matter how many people are involved. It doesn't matter how strong that thing thinks it is. It could even be a whole system that has been designed to target you and discriminate against you and hold you down. Maybe because of your race, maybe because of your gender, maybe because of your age, maybe because of your orientation, just because of who you are. Come on. Church, it doesn't matter who or what it is. It doesn't matter how strong or how intimidating it might be. As long as you know that you have the Lord on your side, you and the Lord are stronger than any force, than any system, than any army, than any enemy that tries to come against you in Jesus' name. That's why Paul said in Ephesians chapter 6, be strong in the Lord and in the power of God's might. Because by ourselves, we might not be strong enough, church. By ourselves, we might get defeated, church. But with the Lord on our side, we can stand up in the face of the enemy and be bold and be strong and be courageous, and nothing and nobody can stop us or stand in our way or keep us down in Jesus' name. Because greater is the power of God who is on the inside of you than any enemy that tries to defeat you. Church, you have the power of God on the inside of you. And as long as you hold on to God's unchanging hand, you will always be the victor. I don't care how big that threat is. I don't care how hard the enemy tries to attack. I don't care how many times they try to sucker punch you. All you have to do is put your faith in God and wait on the Lord, and you will prevail. You will win, because the enemy cannot defeat you with the Lord on your side. Now, verse 4, David says, one thing I have asked of the Lord, and that will I seek after. To live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. For he will hide me in his shelter in the day of trouble. Anybody know what it feels like to have trouble? I'm knocking at your door. Jesus said in John 16 that in this world you will in tongues until your tongue turns blue.
All right.
Come on
I
now.
don't care who you are, every once in a while, trouble is gonna come knocking at your door.
That's right.
Come on.
Sometimes trouble comes knocking at the door on your job, amen, somebody. Sometimes trouble comes knocking on the door of your finances. Sometimes trouble comes knocking on the door of your health, at the door of your relationship, at the door of your family, coming through your children, coming through your loved ones, even at the door of your church.
Amen. Come on, Rev.
But Jesus said, this church, Jesus said, in this world you will have tribulation.
Yes.
You will have trouble.
Yes.
But the good thing about Jesus, church, is that Jesus doesn't just leave us with that trouble, because Jesus also said that even though the trouble will come, he said, take heart and be strong and be courageous, for I have overcome the world.
Yes.
So even though you might have to go through some trouble, church, you do not have to go through that trouble all alone. Jesus overcame everything that came against him. And the same spirit that empowered Jesus is the same spirit that lives in you. And if Jesus was able to overcome them, then you are able to overcome as well.
Amen.
All you have to do is get in the presence of the Lord. Trust that God will protect you
Yes.
when that trouble comes. Know that God has your back, even in the midst of trouble. And believe that God is able to bring you through, church.
Yeah.
Every single time, church. God don't just leave us in the midst of trouble. God walks with us through that thing, and God brings us all the way through and out of that thing in Jesus' name. Now David says in verse 7, he says, hear, O Lord, when I cry aloud. Be gracious to me and answer me. See, now David goes from expressing his faith in God to prayer and petition, and he's crying out to God to hear his plea. And I am a witness, church, that if you will cry out to God in faith in the midst of your trouble, that God will hear you and that God will answer your prayer. Now, praying with faith means that you have to expect something from God. So David expected that God not only hear his prayer, but that God answer his prayer and that God do something about his situation. So when we pray, church, we ought to expect God to answer us and expect God to do something about our prayer. Because see, God responds to our faith, church. Our faith is what moves the hand of God to work on our behalf. And if you will put your faith in God through prayer, church, God will give you what you need in order to sustain you. Even if that means that God has to strengthen you to be able to endure until God brings you through. So when you pray, church, pray with faith, believing and expecting God to do something about your situation. Church, learn how to not just pray and talk to God, but learn how to pray to God and talk to God and expect something from God. Now, in verse 8, it says that David began to seek the Lord. And he sought the Lord because he knew that if anybody could do anything about what he was going through, that God could. Church, whenever you have a problem, seek the Lord first. Seek the Lord first. Not social media, not Facebook, not Instagram, not Twitter, not Snapchat, or whatever else it is that's out there. Come on, don't get me wrong. Don't look at me like you don't understand what I'm talking about. Sometimes I look at my timeline and all I see is all these problems that people are going through. And don't think all that stuff, it has its place. It does.
Amen.
But the first place you ought to go when you have a problem is to God in prayer. Because see, God is the one who can actually do something about your situation. Not just to talk about you behind your back. Amen, somebody. Because see, there are just some things that you are going through that nobody else understands but God. There are some things that can't nobody else help you with but God. Because see, can't nobody comfort you like God can. Nobody can give you a peace of mind like God can. Nobody can love on you like God can. Nobody can strengthen you like God can. Nobody can rescue you in your time of need like God can. So when you are going through church, learn to seek the Lord first whenever you have a problem, and watch how God will honor you because you sought the Lord. Now, in verse 9, David says, don't hide your face from me. Don't turn your servant away in anger. You who have been my help. Church, all of your help comes from the Lord. Everything that you have gone through, everything that you have made through was because God was there to help you through. And I know what I'm talking about this morning, church, because I have been through some difficult times in my life, and I know that if it had not been for the Lord who was on my side, that I might not have made it through, because God has been my help, church, especially when I could not help myself. Church, God was my help in the hospital room. God was my help when I lost my job. God was my help when I lost somebody I loved. God was my help when folk were talking about me and lying on me and calling me everything but a child of God. God was my help when somebody tried to kill me. God was my help when I didn't know where my next meal was coming from. Church, God was my help when I was lost and feeling alone and could not find my way. Yet, even through that darkness, God helped me find the light. Church, God has been my help. And if you will look back over your life, I'm sure that everybody in this room today can say the same thing, that the Lord God Almighty has been your help whenever you have needed God to help you. Church, listen here. God is there when no one else is there. God is there when folks try to be there for you, but they just don't know how to be there for you. Church, God is there even when you don't have sense enough to call on God. God will never leave you, church, and God will never forsake you, church. And David was so confident in the presence of God that he said in Psalm 139 that even if he made his bed in hell, that even God would be there. And there are not too many folk who are willing to walk with you through hell. Come on, somebody. That's why I love God like I do. That's why I'm thankful to God like I am. That's why I praise God the way I do. That's why I worship God like I do. That's why I give God the glory that God deserves. That's why I'm not ashamed to lift up my hands and give God praise and shout hallelujah to the God that I serve, because God loves us so much, church. That God is always with us through everything that we encounter. And God is always, 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 always there to help see us through. Church, God will never leave you nor forsake you. David even said, when your mother or your father forsake you, that the Lord will take you up. Even when your friends and your loved ones, trusted ones, turn their backs on you, David said that the Lord will be there to see you through. Because there is no place you can go that God will not go right there with you. So be thankful to God and bless God and give God glory for the glory that God is due, and use that. Use that to encourage yourself in your time of need. Now, let's look at verse 13. I'm almost through. Don't tell the preacher to take his time out. Verse 13 says, I believe. Somebody say that. Say, I believe.
I believe.
Come on, say it again. Say, I believe.
I believe.
He says, I believe that I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living.
Yes.
That means right now,
Yes.
while I'm in this earth,
Yes.
I believe that I shall see the goodness of the Lord. And David says this church, despite all the lies being told about him, despite the people who are trying to take his life, despite the fact that he has been betrayed and that fear is trying to take a hold of him, he said that regardless of all that I am going through, I believe that God has some good things in store
Yes.
for me.
Amen.
And church, I believe that God has some good things in store for you.
Yes.
Despite what you've been going through, y'all, I believe God got something good for you. Despite all the betrayal, I believe that God has something good for you. Despite all of the disappointments, I believe that God has something good for you. Despite any issues you might be having in your relationships, God has something good for you. You might be having issues in your body right now, or on your job right now, or in your finances right now, or in your family right now. Y'all, we got some issues in this church right now.
Amen.
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 But I believe that God has something good in store for us.
Yes.
I can't wait for that first sermon that I preach when we get back in our church.
Amen.
And after the flood. Amen. Somebody. Church, despite all that we have been going through as a church, we have got to hold on to our faith in God and believe that God has something good in store for us. Because there is no way that God would allow us to go through some of the things that we have gone through if there was not a blessing on the other side of that.
Yes.
But in order to see the goodness of God, church, we need to learn how to wait on the Lord.
Yes.
Because if we will wait on the Lord with faith and anticipation, church, God will come through for us each and every time.
Yeah.
Now in the last verse, verse 14, David says, wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait on the Lord.
Yes.
Somebody say, wait on the Lord.
Wait on the Lord.
Say it again, say, wait on the Lord.
Wait on the Lord.
Whatever you are going through, church, wait on the Lord. Because when we wait on the Lord, God gives us the strength that we need to face our fears.
Come on.
When we wait on the Lord, church, God gives us the courage we need to stand up against anything or anybody who is trying to attack us. When we wait on the Lord, church, God gives us the comfort that we need just to make it through, sometimes just to another day. When we wait on the Lord, church, God gives us the peace that we need to be able to go through a trial with confidence, knowing that the Spirit of the Lord will see us through. When we wait on the Lord, church, that's when God will strengthen us in our faith and we learn what it means to trust God. Now, there are so many people who do malicious things out of ignorance and hatred.
Yes.
There's so many things in our lives that have the potential to threaten us and to cause us to fear or become anxious or to have concern. But church, if we will just learn how to go to God in prayer and place our faith in the God we serve, God will give us the confidence to have no fear at all. But we have to learn how to wait on the Lord. Church, let's use the faith that we have to trust in God more than we trust in our circumstances and more than we put our trust in other people.
Yes.
Situations change. People will fail us. Sometimes they don't mean to. But because we are human, sometimes we fail. Sometimes we fail ourselves. But I know a God who can do all things but fail. So why not let us put our faith in a God like that? Church, I want to encourage us this morning to pray. Talk to God. Whatever it is that we are going through, let us seek the face of God and take it to the Lord in prayer and expect God to do something. about our situation. And trust me, church, God will hear your prayer and God will answer your prayer and God will work on your behalf because your faith can move God. And the final thing is this, verse 14. David began to encourage other people by telling them to wait on the Lord. When God strengthens you,
Come on.
you take the time to encourage somebody else.
Amen.
Take the time to tell somebody else about how good God has been to you.
Amen.
Tell somebody about how God has blessed you when you chose to wait on God instead of doing it your own way. Tell somebody what it means to wait on the Lord and to wait with faith and to wait with patience and to wait with anticipation because the Lord will see them through. Church, somebody is waiting on you. And they're waiting on you to get through what you're going through so that you can tell them that no matter what they are going through, that if they would just wait on the Lord like you did, that God will strengthen them like God strengthened you. And God will give them courage like God gave you courage. And that God will bring them through. Just like God brought you through. Amen?
Amen.
Somebody say with me this morning, say wait on the Lord.
Wait on the Lord.
One more time, say wait on the Lord.
Wait on the Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
God, we thank you for this word. I thank you that it has been sown on good ground. And in Jesus' name, let us all say together, say,